Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today I am joined by Mr. Kubus the Monster Dog for another unique bow. This one is the bow called the Flamedart, and Cody desperately wants my attention today. The Flamedart is an interesting bow. It's actually kind of buggy because it doesn't... Oh yeah, that's how you feel. It doesn't always like roll its damage properly. We're going to talk about it as we go forward and how it potentially functions. It is a hunter's bow, which is 2 to 5 damage, and it has a durability of 40. And then on top of that, it also requires 20 strength and 35 dexterity. Oh yeah, that's how you feel about it, Cody? Well, dang, I didn't know you felt that strongly about it. You don't like the Flamedart? Is it you hate it? Cody said, I just want to talk. You was talking all day long, and I was talking sometimes too. And this not. I just want to talk. What's the matter? Do you gotta go pepper do? Cody's gotta go pepper do. All right. So the Flamedart is fired arrows damage 1 to 6, fire hit damage 1 to 6. Chance to hit 20% increased chance to hit, which is really nice, and resist fire 40%. Just got a random fire resistance thrown in on there. Now the problem with this one is that it actually has 2 different damages, and the 2 different damages actually check multiple times to whether they actually are going to hit the target. And so it's like, from what I understand of the way that this bow functions, is it has 1 to 6 fire arrow damage and 1 to 6 fire arrow hit damage. But for some reason or another, it actually doesn't like actually check twice, or it checks twice and it only has like 1 damage number that actually hits the target. So instead of actually doing like 2 to 12, which is what it should be doing, it actually only does 1 to 6. Just 1 to 6, and that's it. And you can see it do like a little explosion when it hits the target, like the same as a lot of the other items in the game that have fire damage on them or lightning damage. There's like a additional effect when it hits the target. You'll also notice that when you fire the Flamedart, it actually does have little fire like arrows on the tip. So there's that. However, sometimes apparently it does no damage because it tries to check for the hit multiple times and then it will miss multiple times, and so then it won't do any damage whatsoever, which is also weird. Reading the actual post on this, it says specifically that, let me make sure I don't get murdered here while I'm looking. That's right, die, you little punks. It says the elemental damage on bows is quite buggy in Diablo 1 and can do almost no damage, or much more than the listed. Since the fire and lightning sometimes checks for hits multiple times, though this weapon lists its fire damage twice, only 1 to 6 fire damage is checked per shot. So unfortunately, instead of doing its 2 to 12, it only does 1 to 6. But it is also saying that for some reason when it comes to bows, sometimes it checks the damage multiple times, and it can potentially do no damage, or it can potentially do a lot more than what it states. So weird. Definitely a weird item. It's one of the few items in the game that actually changes the actual graphic on the fire attack. So when you're actually firing the arrows, there are very few items in the game that actually change the way that that looks and the way that that functions. And then on top of that, it also is one of the fewer items in the game that actually has elemental damage on your actual bow attack, which, as they were talking about, elemental damage on bow attacks seems to be rather buggy. Flamedart is an interesting item. It's not particularly very high level. It's only a quality level 10, so level 10 monsters and above can drop it. It does have a rather nice base, though, with the 2 to 5 damage. The Hunter's Bow tends to be kind of one of the nicer ones. Like, there's a lot of bows in the game, and some of them have really crappy ranges. Like, they'll be like 1 to 4 or like 1 to 5. 2 to 5 is definitely one of the better ranges of over like 1 to 3, like the Needler or several other of the items. It doesn't sell for like a whole lot, but it's not bad at 3,562. There's definitely items in the game like Griswold's Edge, which sell for like 12k and whatnot. But there's also a lot of the crappier bows only sell for like 200, 300. So Flamedart definitely seems to be at least worth picking up and taking back to town if you want to sell it for gold. As a early starter bow, it's not bad. Like, there's nothing really wrong with it, and the extra fire resistance will come in handy when you come across some of the fire monsters that try and burn you to death. Not really sure if it's worth, like, hunting down or trying to get specifically for any reason, especially when a lot of the monsters in the game tend to be, like, highly resistant to fire or almost outright immune to fire in some particular cases. I think that's pretty much it when it comes to this item. It's definitely a weird one, that's for sure. Especially given that it has like multiple bugs involved in the way that it functions. Like the first bug is that it doesn't actually do 2 to 12 fire damage like it's supposed to. And then the second bug is that fire damage or elemental damage in general when applied to a bow doesn't really function properly. So you end up with really weird calculations where sometimes it does no damage or sometimes it does multiples of whatever it states. So it might still do 2 to 12 damage, but due to a bug, which is not... yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it for this item. Moving on to the next item on the list, we're going to be going over Flesh Stinger. As always, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and keep watching.